Welcome guys to yet another tutorial as a continuation of the Geodjango tutorial series 2. In this tutorial we'll be looking at writing or basically developing APIs from geospatial data. So of course in the last tutorial we've seen how, or we saw how to come up with Geodjango models and to add them into our admin. So with these models, we can continue further to check the various methods or the various options that we can have when we are creating the APIs. So these are basically be Geo APIs carrying geospatial or carrying geodata, and let's dive into it. So basically, if you look at this application, we have the models. We have the models.py file. We have the admin.py file. So in these files, we've seen the models that we are currently using. So if we wanted to create an API, so by an API I mean, for example, we have the shop here, where we would like to basically continue or showcase an API that we want to share even with other guys or other developers, where we want to share the files or the APIs of the shops that we have in our database. So I want us to to basically add or create an API. I want us to install a dependency. So it will be pip install Django REST framework GIS. Alright, so it has installed quite a number of things, and of course you can see some of the requirements have already been installed, and we can see we've installed version 0.18. But one thing we have to note is that for this dependency to be installed, we have to basically have these Django REST framework. So I know maybe most of you have used this one before, but this is now this and this will enable us to create our APIs. Okay, so let me go back to running the server. Okay, so with that, so once we've installed this, we need to basically add that into our installed applications here. So here I'll have to REST framework. So I can have the two REST framework, and I have the REST framework underscore GIS. So this will basically be the two that so we'll be using this one for GIS. This one is the usual framework for writing APIs. Okay, now with this we can proceed to creating our API, and the first one will write an API, or we usually call them a serializer, which will serialize data from this model, and of course we can duplicate that in these other models we have here. So within this application, I'll create a new file and call it serializers.py. Okay, so with this here I'll import quite a number of things. So I want to import first from models. I import the shop. Okay, the other thing is basically importing the serialize from REST framework. So from REST framework, import serializers. Okay, do I have a typo? Could not be. Okay, then I also need to install or basically to import from REST framework GIS. I need to import So here I need to import quite a number of things. Sorry, this is dot serializers. So here I need to import I can import, so there are quite a number of serializers that one can import. This is a Geo Feature model serializer. This is because we'll be serializing a model which is basically the shop model here. So we shall see that in a bit. Okay, so we import a Geo Feature model serializer, and then from there we can just continue. So now because you already have this actually someone can ignore it from adding it from here, or you can still have it. Either way it works. So from here, so we have the Geo Feature model. So here we'll create a class, and this class we can call it shop serializer. So I'm just calling them or giving them the name, the conventional name, just the simple names that will work. So this one so this basically this serializer will be a Geo Feature model, and that's it. And then usually there's a in this part, or in this class, you could actually extend the model depending on if a model had complex fields like foreign keys, things like the many-to-many fields. You could have quite a number of relationship with other models. So this option, or this part, one can actually add quite a number of options to the serializer. So I'll just first of all do this. Let me just go directly to just first of all define the model, where I'll say this is basically the shop model that we need to have. So another thing with the serializer, you have to define or tell it which field is basically your, or be the field that carries the geometry. So in this case, the field here is called location. So here we have what we have called geo field, and then this will basically be location. Okay, and then we can define the fields that we want to go into into this serializer. Remember, the serializer or the API that you are developing can have either all the fields that are in this model, or you can just decide to have specific fields. So for example, in our case here, we only have quite a few. So I accept for the geometry, we only have 3 attributes. So in this case, we can just include all of them. So we have the name, we have the, what else? We have the type of coffee, type of coffee, and the streets. So type of coffee, and then we have the street name. Remember, I don't need to put I think here there's an underscore. Yes, there's an underscore here. Okay, remember here we don't need to repeat this location field here, because we've already defined it within the serializer on this part. So I want us to do something just to test things out. So we need to have a URL or an endpoint where this serializer will render the data to our view or to our page. So let me just create that part or that view quite fast. So I come here to views, and I'll just say from models import shop. Then I'll have from serializers import shop, shop serializer. And then so we need to create a class here, or basically a view, where the shop data or serialized data will go. Let me just do this. So class shop, or can you call it just shop API, like that. So here, so I want this to be, because I want to be an API view, So let me import from REST framework import. So here I want to import the generics class. This I know will carry generics dot list. No, I don't want the list view. I want list API view. Okay, so not just a view, but it will be an API view. Okay, so here I need two things. The first is the query set, which basically carries so here the query set, here we can say it's basically shop, which is the model, dot objects dot all. I don't have a filter option. And then I can say the serializer class. Class will basically be the one that we imported here, which is the shop serializer. All right, there you have it. So now I have a list API view and I have the shop serializer, and you can see how the serializer looks like. And then because now we already have this, now I can go into creating a URL. So there's no URL file here, so we can just create it quite fast. So urls.py. So the first thing here is from Django. So we want to import path because this is a Django 3 import path. It's usually a bit straightforward. Then I'll just say from views import shop API. Okay, like that. Okay, with that, then now I can just create the URL patterns. URL patterns. Sorry. So here I can have the path, and the first path I can maybe I can have it like that, shop API, and then here I can just say that I want the shop API. Okay, and then so here you can include either if you want as view, but I just want it first of all that way. And then here we can have a name to this view. So this is a namespace where we can just call it shop API, so something like that. Okay, so now within my browser to this I try to add shop API, not dot but /. Okay, yeah, it says not found. I know why. So this is because these URLs we need to add them into the main project definition here. So we'll have that. So I just to be an empty namespace, and then I have include. So in this part here I can have include. Okay, so this is a path include. So here I want to include resources dot urls. Okay, so now this is basically, so I've gotten an error. Okay, why is this happening? Let me check. This is good, this is good, this is okay, this is good. I might have an issue somewhere. Let me see. Oh yeah, this should be URLs. Let me see. YAML. Oh geez, how did I get this? Okay, this is so I was importing serializer, or what was I importing here? Serialize. I didn't have anything to import as serialize. Let me just delete that. I don't know where did that come from? Okay, so there I have. Okay, yeah, so the error has been resolved. Let me try to, okay, there you go. So what I'll do, I'll get to the admin, I go to the admin and try to add a shop. So let me just try to add a shop. I call it Java TRM. Type of coffee, we have house coffee. I don't know whether this is a type of coffee. So I'm just adding some dummy info here. Espresso. Okay, save. Then so I'll have these two. So of course you hold the shift button, you can select two. Street name, it's Thika Road. And then so we'll come to changing these component later, but basically I just want to see, I can just put a marker there. I save. So there I have so I have one entry, and if I try to refresh the page, so without either the field attribute or exclude attribute has been deprecated since 3.9 or is now disallowed. Okay, that's good to know. So I'm wondering, but I have fields. I had so many typos in my. So field type of coffee is not a valid for model. Shop. So this is it's types. Oh my goodness. Sorry guys for this, but it's good actually because we are able to see. All right. So now I have this kind of information, or I have this kind of data, because I only have one entry, and as you can see now I have the coordinates, and I have the coordinates, the latitude, longitude, and the other properties. Okay, another thing is that if you look at the coordinates here, we find that the properties, we have the name, type of coffee, which just shows 1 and 2, and then you have the street name. So we could basically advance our serializers in such a way that we get the actual values here instead of getting just the 1 and 2. So if you look at the definition of this is basically a many-to-many field, and I didn't define other options within the many-to-many fields which are available in Django. So of course there are things like the through field and all that. So I didn't define all that, but we could actually come to the serialize option here and add those components within our or add that, modify this field so that we get the actual values within the API instead of getting 1 and 2. So to do that, it's a bit that's pretty simple. So let me start by importing the coffee types here. So we require another serializer here, which is just a general serializer, model serializer. So we can call it let me just call it type serializer. So this will basically be a normal serializers.model serializer. I'm having a lot of typos. I hope this is correct. Model serializer. Okay, and then here I don't even need to put anything. So here I'll just define the class meta, because I just want to reference to the model. So the model in this case will be this. So coffee types, and of course we'll add the fields, which basically will be, so this model has two fields, name and description. So I can just return the name, and for these fields, remember it has to be a list. So okay, so I have a comma there. All right, then from there it's just straightforward. So I just need to get this field there, and then I just call this serializer in here like that. So I can have many equals true. Okay, so let's see what we have. So let me refresh. Okay, yeah, you get. So basically now we have the type of coffee. So we have the name, the first one, the second one, and if you have 20 types, they'll all be listed there instead of having the 1 and 2. So the many here, it's because we are relating to a many field. So it will just return the names of those specific types. Of course, there are other issues that you can bring on board, such as the security, like aspects of logging in, users, or aspects of checking the IP of that specific request machine, and all those. So those are options that you can read more on the Django REST framework documentation to see the various options that you can add. So that's how you are able to add this option. So it's not different from like for these the street and the counties. The process of creating an API is not as different, and of course you can try to duplicate or to replicate that this kind of code into the other models if you need them. So cheers guys, have fun.